Well, I'm Dr. Noel Boaz. I'm an MD, PhD, and I specialize in human clinical anatomy and evolutionary medicine. I'm very pleased today to have a discussion with Dr. Haque about his approach to dealing with integrative medicine and dealing with the whole patient. We have a few topics today that I think quite timely in looking at issues that patients around the country and in fact around the world are dealing with.
Correct.
Dr. Haque, it's a pleasure to be with you today.
It's so wonderful, Dr. Boaz, meeting virtually, and we're going to discuss such important topics. And it's so happy and it's a pleasure to speak with you today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Now, I have a number of topics that you've sort of indicated are of great interest to your patients, and then we sort of a topic that's tied into diet very intimately and relates to really the whole metabolic profile of a patient or an individual is weight and how much patient weighs. And we see so much, and I've talked to individual, say, exercise regimes, and they're concerned about how much do I weigh? And I think it's very important to understand on the part of patients that weight is a composite of not only fat, but muscle and bone. And there's more to it than just what you see on the weight scale, isn't it? And what do you see in your patients? I mean, you just mentioned that there seems to be a lot of problem with obesity and overweightness. How do you deal with that in your patients as you see it?
Yeah, that's actually a great point we can discuss. As you know that obesity and overweight percentage recently, new data showing that it increased. It was 66%. Recently, I've been seeing the data. Almost 80% American are overweight. Almost 40%. It's raised 30 to 40% American are now overweight or obese. So in my patient, what I see primarily about the hormone issue. Hormone issue, when I say hormone issue, it's not only one estrogen dominant, or it's not only cortisol issue. It's not that only. It also, of course, estrogen dominant, high cortisol, high adrenaline. Also, it involved with the leptin, insulin. It involved with the even thyroid hormone. So all hormones involved when you have overweight issue. So the very first is the insulin is a problem. When body become resistant to insulin to convert sugar into calorie, then you have a sugar, instead of metabolizing to calorie, it converting into fat cell. And these resistance come in a certain period of time, slowly, when our diet is not clean, when you're taking processed food, when you're eating excessive amount of carb and not burning enough, then those highly processed food, body cell get inflamed. So it getting resistance. It cannot take calorie from insulin from as a form of glucose. So what other thing happen is when you have too much glucose bring all the time for constantly for years and decades not being burned, easily body get resistance to insulin. When insulin resistance is there, your body cannot process the carb, sugar, the body must be raising high fat and overweight. When it comes to high cortisol, also causing that, because high cortisol stop the metabolism, so stress, anxiety causing the metabolism slow because cortisol gets high. Whenever people have gut issue, infections, so infections cause a gut layer get inflamed, and then if that happen, people get leptin resistance, ghrelin resistance. So they don't feel that, they don't have satiety. They don't feel that they ate enough. They keep eating. They don't feel that they are not hungry anymore. They feel hungry all the time because they have a high ghrelin secretion. So ghrelin, leptin I would say, cortisol, insulin, and TSH. When TSH is high, so your thyroid is not working. So thyroid is very slow. When thyroid is slow, hypothyroidism, and if Hashimoto comes in, then another story is become autoimmune. Then thyroid become very weak, and liver gets weak, and that causing another way of not metabolizing carb and sugar and calorie. Even they don't even metabolize even fat. A lot of patients tell me, Dr. Hogg, I eat only 1 meal a day with some healthy fat and plan. Why I'm gaining weight? I said, it's even small healthy calorie. If you get a healthy fatty fish, healthy calorie, that even not being transferred because thyroid is not working. Your metabolism is too slow. You don't need to even eat carb to gain weight. Those patients gaining weight, even drinking or simple any healthy calorie again. Even plant. I saw some patient eating only plant, only salad. They say I'm gaining weight. You see, its metabolism is too slow, and then gut layer gets inflamed, and opportunist bacteria keep growing. They stop absorbing the nutrient, and those opportunist bacteria also making a lot of toxin, and that converting that transferring to liver, or metabolic toxin has to go to the liver, and liver become dysfunction, and sugar is not being processed, and high carbohydrate not being processed. That comes as a glycogen, also become a TG, make a fatty liver. Fatty liver also causing thyroid weak, ended up gaining weight. And if you see in our society, when we eat, we have a lot of toxin around. We have a heavy metal added food. We have a drinks and soda have a lot of additive chemicals. We have a bleach and dye like sodium ascorbate, instead of sugar, which a lot of people doesn't, instead of taking stevia or monk food, some people take zero cal aspartame. This aspartame is also chemical dangerous. This chemical causing gut and other part of the body inflamed, and that causing solid in the body, that causing mineral deficiency. And every processed food depleting mineral from the body, that also causing mineral deficiency. Body gets shocking mood, body need to hold extra water when body have no mineral. That's a part of immune function in the body. So altogether, we also, a lot of people have a lot of stress, they couldn't sleep. If you don't sleep, we don't burn calorie, you gain weight. And if you see also, some people are constantly micronutrient deficient, vitamin D deficient, vitamin B12, fatty acid, omega deficient. Those people also body got always inflamed. They don't secrete the enzyme to digest the food, and they have to gain weight. Undigested food all has to convert into as a toxin fat cell in the body. So everything involved: hormone, our processed food, our insulin resistance, our unhealthy gut, our lack of mineral in the system, our lack of micronutrient, lack of too much toxin coming from pathogens or undigested food, unhealthy gut, as I said, and eating disorder, leptin and other ghrelin imbalance. As I said, insulin resistance, as I said earlier, stress causing high cortisol. Your lifestyle also involved, because we don't sleep on time, we don't eat on time, we're forgetting that this is a night time, it's a sleeping time. We also getting lack of sleep, busy. Ended up we have a lot of people have a medicinal side effect, because the medicine is a synthetic drug, has to go through intestine and liver, that making organ dysfunction, slow metabolism, and then causing overweight. So we need to get rid of that to save our world, save our communication, our community, to save people from the epidemic of disease.
It's a complex interaction of many factors, and you've run through a number of endocrinological aspects to the whole aspect of obesity. There's an old and very classic study in evolutionary medicine by a geneticist named James Neal about the thrifty genotype, and that tied into his explanation about diabetes. It's the idea that, and I think it ties into what you were just saying, in the old days, we worked much more actively. And today there is more sedentism. And although we're busy, as you say, many
Yeah,
times in front of a computer, and you're still sitting down. And I think that changes that energy budget, doesn't it? So that you really, you can't eat as much sugar and carbohydrates as you did when you used to go out and do plowing a field, right? We
exactly.
use that much those calories anymore. But it's a complex and it's a ubiquitous issue, isn't it? This question of obesity, and especially in the Western world, especially in the we know here in the United States, it's increasing in younger people, isn't it?
Yep. And unfortunately, people want to get rid of that. People want to lose extra weight. They are going here and there. They are going to slimming center. They are spending money on that, but they're not getting no results because they're not applying science. They are not applying where it coming from. They just a lot of people trying to more exercise, less eating. They're not getting help with that. They need to go to
Yeah.
deep science.
Well, I think that having a perspective that you're promoting, which is a broad perspective about human biology and adaptation, is important because everything ties together in terms of health.
Everything.
Does